finally ready. You got spare ribs, you got chicken, you got brisket, you got anything you want. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to check the pig, see if it's kosher.
Oh, yeah. It's just fun. It's fun. I understand it all. My dad's going. Trying to convince Andrew. Let's see. We're trying to convince Andrew to come, but trying to convince my husband to come. But, you know. I might bring him there. I know the way that they're playing right now. Hine matovu manayim shevedachim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevedachim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevedachim Shevedachim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim. Shevedachim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim. Shevedachim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. Welcome, everyone also who is with us via live stream. We're so glad you're here with us, too, from across the country and across the world. And this Shabbat is, I'll speak personally, this Shabbat I'm holding a lot. It's possible that many of you are too, given just in light of the violence that's happening in the Middle East. And it's important, I think, to start out right with it and just to bring to mind some of the emotions that we may be feeling. It could be fear, it could be sadness, it could be helplessness. For me, the word that I've been sitting with this week is feeling unsettled. I feel pretty unsettled, and I'm not really sure what to do. And so, when I enter into Shabbat, we just lit the candles a few minutes ago, and when I enter into Shabbat, I think about this feeling of unsettledness that I have, and how Shabbat is actually a really wonderful antidote for feeling unsettled. The word Shabbat literally means to sit or to dwell. And that's what we're doing right now. We're sitting, we're dwelling, and it's a chance for us to settle into our unsettledness and give ourselves that gift. We'll begin on page 10 with Ma Yafeh Hayom, how beautiful this day is that we're able to at least try to settle our unsettledness. Page 10.
Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. I too am feeling that unsettled, sort of uncomfortable feeling of what's next. We don't know. And that's never really easy for me because I like to know what's coming next. And so when it's really out of your control, it can be incredibly daunting. And I found this poem that I think really at least helps me. Maybe I'm saying it, and the more I say it, I'll start to believe it. But it's called Wild Broken Heart by Alden Solovey. My heart is free, cracked open by fire, pouring radiance and music into the night, lifting prayers to the heavens. This wild, broken heart fears nothing, embracing stars and secrets. What more can be rendered? Rubble and ash, dust and whispers? My feet touch the hot core of the earth. My hands reach the cold edge of the universe. I am the hollow bone that brings medicine and light from the soul of eternity to this world, to this life. Take this wild, broken heart and place it next to yours. The wildness of your dreams, the wildness of your laughter, the wildness of your joy and love, the truth that pulses through your veins, and we will shine, magnificent visions into the darkness, summoning the battered, the bruised, the wounded, summoning hearts split and torn, calling out to the thirst for healing and the hunger to heal, calling wild, broken hearts to the center, to the place within where we all dwell. Our wild, broken hearts sing. Our wild, broken hearts bless. Our wild, broken hearts sparkle and shine. Together, our wild, broken hearts are whole. So let our wild, broken hearts sing together. Yedid Nefesh can be found also on page 10. We'll join together. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, av harachaman, meshoch avdecha el retzonecha, el retzonecha. Yarutz avdecha kemo ayal yishtachave el mul hadarecha. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, av harachaman. Meshoch avdecha el retzonecha, el retzonecha. Yarutz avdecha kemo ayal yishtachave el mul hadarecha. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, av harachaman. Meshoch avdecha el retzonecha, el retzonecha.
Page 20, Lecha Dodi. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. We'll join together.
Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Hishmianu el ha-meyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad Leshem u'tiferet v'litzilah Shabbat tchila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela
We'll rise and face our entrance and greet the Shabbat bride.
Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'b'zola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela.
We'll turn in our Sidurim to page 28 for our Baruch Hu and remain standing.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 לי
In the middle of page 31, I'll invite us to read together as one community in English. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Ahavat Olam Beit Israel, on page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and on your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeiti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, Lihiot Lachem Le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Our next prayer, Michamocha, which can be found on page 40, is really our prayer of our people's understanding of what redemption and freedom looks like in a world that is actually not yet fully free or fully redeemed. And for us, in a world that is ridden with violence, war, gun violence, incredibly problematic elements that need to be redeemed and people that need to be redeemed from it, it begs us to question, who are we and what are we? What is our role to become partners with one another and with God in terms of what that looks like for us? So soon what I'll invite us to do is I'll invite us to break into groups of, let's say, 2 or 3, not to take super long, but I want us to at least meet someone new. So I'll invite you to turn to someone new or someone you haven't met and you want to go deeper with. Share your name, wish them a Shabbat Shalom, and I'll invite you to reflect on if there's something that you think our world needs to be redeemed from, something that you think our world needs to be redeemed from. I'll invite you to share that with them. So we'll break and we'll come back together in song on page 40.
And her too, but the combo is pretty extreme. Ready? Should I just start singing? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, So safety and protection, things that maybe now, I think now more so than ever, we're thinking, at least for me, I do not take for granted that we have a prayer. It's so important that we have a prayer that we get to say every single night that asks God for that safety. And we're knowledgeable. We know about it, right? And there are people in this world who are not so lucky. And so I want to invite us all to think of those people, bring them in close, give them that safety and that protection. Even if it's not something that you can physically do, that feeling can go out into the world and maybe add a little bit more peace and something to this world. So I invite us to look at our supplemental sheets, the bottom right-hand side of the page, as we join together in our prayer for safety, for protection. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom, V'ha'amitenu Malkeinu L'chaim, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen.
Our Amidah can be found on page 46. It's our prayer of being closest with the divine, with ourselves, with however we want to spend time this evening. We'll invite us to rise in all the ways that we're able. We'll recite the first 4 prayers together as a community, and then following that, we'll have a moment just for silent meditation and reflection, which can include the prayers in the prayer book or the prayers and meditations of our hearts. On page 46, we'll join together.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We'll continue silently and be seated when we're finished.
בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים. יצא ממצרים בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים יצא ממצרים יצא ממצרים יצא ממצרים. Can you picture yourself crossing through and wandering the desert? Can you feel the wind support you as you go? Do you hear the cries of those left behind, still hoping for tomorrow? Do you fear the mountain you still have to climb? בכל דור ודור יצא האדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים יצא ממצרים יצא ממצרים יצא ממצרים. אילו הוציאנו ממצרים הוציאנו ממצרים דיינו
There is nothing more on my mind right now than all of the emotions that are in this room and all the emotions that are in this community, given the attack of the Iranian government sent over to Israel a week ago, this upcoming Saturday. These events, I don't know if they're going to be historic. We're not sure. I think no one's sure at this moment. But what I do know is that in this room, in this space, and in our community, I've already heard from so many folks who are feeling afraid, who are feeling angry, who are feeling scared, and who are feeling like they don't know what to do. And this, coupled with the fact that there are still hostages, there are still innocent Palestinians in Gaza who are incredibly suffering every day. And this is a massive weight to bear. It's a massive weight to bear. And I want to acknowledge the heaviness of this moment and that it might be pivotal. At the same time, and this is something that I struggled with this week, is I also want to teach some Torah. I want to teach some Torah about Passover because Passover is coming on Monday. And I think we need both. I think we need space, one, to acknowledge the weight and gravity of the moment. And I also think we need to hear and learn and grow in Torah, because when we learn together, we live out our lives as Jews, as humans, so that we can become more in touch with who we are and who we want to be within a community. So my hope is that we can not only survive, but we can thrive and experience ourselves and our identities in full. May that be our gift tonight. I live in Palms, Culver City with Liz, and in my communities, we have a little Facebook group that everyone's a part of. It's called the Palms Facebook group. If anyone's in Palms, you can join it. If you're not in Palms, I don't think you can join it. So I read in this group that someone posted that they were walking down in my neighborhood, down Venice Boulevard, and they saw a woman fall, and it must have been probably a half a block in front of them. There were people in between, and it took time for this person to get to this woman, and in this amount of time, there were probably 6 or 7 people that walked by and didn't do anything. And this person wrote that one person was literally on their phone and walked around this person who had fell. Shocking. And in this post, this person wrote, they posed, "Have we gotten to the point where we are so consumed with ourselves that we fail to help others in distress?" And then the top response to that comment, yes. Yes. We are at a place in society where we can be all too consumed with ourselves, our own needs, our own wants, our own phones, our own busyness. It clouds the ways in which we show up for others, and it adds to a greater societal burden, deepening the epidemic of social isolation and loneliness. This is exactly where our Parsha comes in. Parshat Metzora we read this week. We learn about a peculiar condition that might seem antiquated, but it's so relevant today. It's called tzara'at. And commonly it's translated as leprosy today, but in reality it's a little bit more nuanced and complex than that. It refers to this discoloration and disfiguration of clothing and housing and skin, our own skin, often giving it a reddish or greenish look, and it's not supposed to be there. It also renders, if it's clothing, the clothing, if it's the house, if it's our skin, ourselves, ritually impure. Torah teaches that if it's determined that, let's say, a house has tzara'at, this condition, then one needs to replace every single stone in that house. It's serious. If the house still has tzara'at, if the priest comes and determines that the house still has tzara'at, then they need to completely demolish the home. This condition, detailed in Torah, is very serious, primarily because it's transmissible. So when one contracts tzara'at, they can render others ritually impure, or if someone comes into a house that has tzara'at, they can become ritually impure, and they must be isolated from the community for 7 days before they are cured. Definitionally, this condition itself, it's called tzara'at, but what's important is there's another definition that I want us to learn, is that the person who contracts this disease, the person who contracts tzara'at, is called the mitzora. Mem tzadi reish ayin, the mitzora. And our tradition has a lot to say about this person, this mitzora. The Talmud notes that one of our prolific rabbis, his name's Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish tells a lot of stories in Talmud. And what he does is he reinterprets the word mitzora, and he creates a fun acronym. Gosh, I love acronyms. Whatever. So he creates this really, really powerful acronym for us. And he reads the verse. This is the beginning verse of our portion, this Shabbat. It says, "This shall be the law for the Metzora." This is going to be the law for someone who is a Metzora. And he writes in the Talmud, no, it's not that way. Instead, "This shall be the law for the," and then he spells out the same letters of Metzora. He spells out the Mem, Shin, Resh, and says, "This is the law for the Motzi, Shem, Ra." And for Hebrew speakers, we know that means anyone who brings up, or anyone who brings out the bad name in anyone else. And so what Reish Lakish is saying is that for someone who contracts this disease, or for someone who lives in a house that contracts the disease, or who has clothing that contracts this disease, that person brings out the evil name in other people. That means that person speaks poorly about other people. That person engages in slander, which the Talmud notes the slander is so bad that it kills 3 people. It kills the slanderer, the one who gives slander. It kills the person who is slandered about, and then it also kills the bystander. The ancients thought sara'at was developed because of ego. It was developed because we are all too consumed with ourselves, and that we don't even think about it if we bring out the bad name or if we speak about others improperly. Perhaps we speak when we should not, or perhaps we take up space when really we should step back and let others lead. Passover has this own metaphor for ego. It's called chametz, or any product, bread product that derives from wheat or barley or oats or spelt or rye, or any other leavened product that puffs up for consumption during Passover. Chametz resembles this ego because it naturally puffs up. If you're a sourdough bread maker, or if you've ever made a focaccia, you know what this looks like. You can literally see it puff up, and it takes up space. What a metaphor for us. During the year when we eat chametz, like bread or pasta, we might not even think about this natural rising, puffing up process, but on Passover, when we're burdened with thin matzah that's crumbly and doesn't look good and doesn't taste good, and we just want to have bread, that's when we are reminded of how puffed up we are during the year. The night before the Pesach Seder, so that would be Sunday night in this case, after sundown, there's a really beautiful tradition that not many of us know about. It's called bidikat chametz, which means looking for chametz. During this ritual, we light a candle and we search our homes for small crumbs of chametz, and we're actually commanded to use, Maimonides says this, you're commanded to use a feather and a wooden spoon, and you're supposed to bring this candle around the home, and then you're supposed to take the feather and you're supposed to feather up a little breadcrumb onto the wooden spoon and put it into a paper bag. And some households, they actually have children place like little breadcrumbs or little croutons like in different rooms, just so that you can complete the mitzvah of bidikat chametz, so that you know you're at least going to find a few breadcrumbs or a few croutons. But what's interesting, it's an atypical ritual, but it actually makes sense when we extend this metaphor to ourselves. We need to take time out of our own days to look at ourselves. It might be with a candle, or it might be with a feather, but to be able to look at ourselves and notice the ways in which we puff up, the ways in which our egos get in the way of others. Prolific Australian musician and writer Nick Cave, founder of the rock band Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds in 1983, has what to teach us about humility. His most recent book, Faith, Hope, and Carnage, published last year or the year before, explores the frailty of what it means to be human, and it dives into his personal life, including his struggles with drug addiction and religion and his grief associated with the death of his son. Cave writes, "Humility amounts to an understanding that the world is not divided into good people and bad people, but rather it is made up of all manners of individuals, each broken in their own way, each caught up in the common human struggle, and each having the capacity to do both terrible and beautiful things. If we truly comprehend and acknowledge that we are all imperfect creatures, we find that we become more tolerant and more accepting of others' shortcomings, and the world appears less dissonant, less isolating, and less threatening." Humility, according to Cave, is our intent. It's our will to comprehend and see that human beings are great and multifaceted and have the capacity to both succeed and struggle. To pull ourselves back from the equation, to acknowledge how much space we take up in a room, and to become more tolerant of each other's challenges. Perhaps when we do our own bedikat chametz, we can further discern that which we are actually hiding from others, perhaps real challenges that we might not want others to perceive about ourselves. I hope you join us this year for our community seders, our LBT Women's Seder, and our LBT Men's Seder, along with various other Passover programming that we can all share about, Cantor Hass and I, at the Oneg. And my hope is that this Pesach can provide us with a little bit of courage that we might need to look at the space that we inhabit, where we show up, and it's important to show up, but also where we let others see what we need candlelight to illuminate within ourselves. The prayer for Bedikat Chametz, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al bi'ur chametz. Praised are you, O source of all being, who rules the universe, instilling in us the holiness of commandments by commanding us to remove all the chametz from our homes and from ourselves. Shabbat shalom.
So one way that we show up for each other is by reaching out to those in our lives who are in need of healing, be it of body or of mind or of spirit. So if you are thinking of anybody today, I invite you to share a name out loud with us so that we can take that name into our hearts and hold them close. I'll start on this side. If there's anyone you're thinking of, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We take all of those names into our hearts, as well as all those names of people suffering around the world, both here and in Israel and everywhere in between. We join together on page 253, middle of the page, for the Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
shlema, full and speedy recovery to all those who are in need of healing, and we'll all say together, Amen. Our concluding prayers can be found on page 282. We'll begin with Aleinu. I'll invite us to rise in all the ways that we're able, body and spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד.
Words to prepare for mourner's Kaddish are not found in the prayer book. These things I know, how the living go on living, and how the dead go on living with them, so that in a forest, even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks, and the rain seeps in through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it. And in the spring, the rabbits find it and build their nests inside the dead tree, so that nothing is wasted in nature or in love. As we recite Kaddish Yaton this evening, we especially remember Lori Schneider, mother of LBT congregant Roy Schneider and grandmother of Ariel, Matt, Aaron, and Aliyah, whom death has taken from us recently. We link her name with Larry Alperstein, Harvey Altman, Ada Angel, Peter Martin Echito, Marcus Fetchheimer, Barry Edward Fritz, Richard Allen Gilson, Charlotte Goldman, Norman Gottlieb, Beatrix Hamburg, David S. Harrison, Manya Hockman, Sadie Kalsman, Natalie Camaris, William Kenton, Henry Lauterbach, Betsy Lautman, Laura Lewis, David I. Lippert, William Sandy Lockheim, Helene Chase Miller, Abbott Lowe Moffett, Ruth Ortner, Ben Pleasance, Pauline Price, Senior Rabbi Emeritus Sanford Reagans, Rabbi Harry Roth, Harry Schwartz, Fanny Schwartz, Sam Sekoff, Yetta Schrag, May Small, Bernard Stein, Charles D. Stein, Sheila Stockel, Myron Summerfield, Elsie Wunsch, Craig Zeitman. If there are others whom you are holding on this Shabbat, or if I've mispronounced the name of your loved one, I'll invite you to rise and share their names with our community. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. I'll invite us to rise in all the ways that we're able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ba'alma divra chiruteh v'amlich malchuteh, b'hayechon uv'yomechon uv'haye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbahata v'nehemata. Damiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the Holy Blessed One who dwells in the high realms bring hope and peace and love and comfort to us in this realm. And we'll all say together, Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom, everyone.